afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today for Thursday, March 27th. It's Alissa Coram here, and we saw stocks dipping again today in the red on tariff news ahead of some inflation data. So we'll break that down for you. And joining me with all of the great discussion points is my colleague, Ken Shreve. Ken, it's always great to see you. What do you have for us today?
Well, got three stocks as usual, and I have to say the first one we're going to talk about I took right from David Saito Chung's Stock Market Today column right on the homepage of investors.com. Let's take a look at Visa, ticker V. After that, in the retail sector, Ollie's bargain outlet, OLLI, and then China stocks outperformed again today. So let's take a look at ticker BZ, and I think the pronunciation is Kanzhun. That's tough, but
We'll
close
go with
enough.
ticker BC.
BZ, yeah.
Sounds great, Ken. We'll take a look at those stocks, but first let's analyze the major indexes. The Nasdaq today down 0.5%, so continuing the declines after that big hit on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 down 0.3% or so on the day. The Dow off 0.4%, and same for the Russell 2000 down 0.4% on the day. So first, let's take a look at the Nasdaq here. We're below 18,000, and we have mostly filled the gap from the highs a couple of days ago. So it seems like today's lows are another level that we want to see. Okay, will the market start to stabilize here, or are we going to see further weakness with economic data coming out tomorrow and inflation report? We could see investors reacting to that.
Yeah, personal consumption expenditures due tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's part of the monthly personal income and spending report. It is one of the inflation gauges that the Fed pays attention to the most. I think it's still hovering in that 2.8, 2.7 range. I think it's expected this time to come in at 2.8%. That would actually be a little bit higher than the prior reading of 2.7. So remains to be seen whether it will be a market mover. I'll tell you, the Nasdaq right now is really really challenged by this sell-off in AI stocks. You know, whether it's Nvidia, Broadcom today went below its 200-day moving average. So, and ironically, you have the first IPO in a while that's set to price tonight. A company called CoreWeave. It's a cloud infrastructure company. Has a relationship with Nvidia. It's another AI stock. The timing is a little could be a little rough, but it is expected to price tonight. But CoreWeave coming public in a very difficult environment for AI stocks right now. So, you know, that again weighed on the Nasdaq today. Weakness in AI stocks and closed near its low. So we'll see if the market can get some cheer tomorrow from maybe some favorable inflation data. But I think as yesterday's performance, Allie, by the Nasdaq, showed us that this market may not be ready to get going quite yet.
Right. And sort of how I'm looking at it is tariff whiplash, right? Because
Yeah.
Monday, the market cheered tariff headlines. Wednesday, the market feared tariff headlines. And we're continuing to see a lot of news flow over the next week. We will get the April 2nd reciprocal tariff deadline, auto tariffs rolling out April 3rd. Who knows what we'll see between now and then, over the weekend, even a tweet. Who knows? So I think there's just a lot that investors are going to have to work through. And until we get to better levels technically on the indexes, this uh, volatile market is concerning and is requiring us to be really nimble right now, I would say.
Yeah, I mean we're still on a downtrend. We're still on a downtrend here, whether you're looking at the Nasdaq or the S&P 500. Some pretty sharp institutional selling when both of these indexes came off their recent highs during that sharp 3-week decline. So you're dealing with a market that's trying to overcome institutional selling. The way it usually deals with that, or it can repair, is if you start to see money coming in from the sidelines again. And maybe saw a little bit of it Monday, but we need to see more For the S&P 500, that 200-day moving average is clearly a wall right now. Will heavy volume come into the S&P 500, and will it eventually be able to power above some of its recent highs from earlier this week? But then it's going to have to deal with its 50-day. So this is
Yeah.
what kind of overhead supply is, and whether it's a stock or an index. Overhead supply is very real, and it usually provides for a pretty good headwind. So, like I said yesterday, we need some volume on the upside. Good to see lower volume, I believe, on both exchanges today. I think S&P 500 looks like it's lower, and also lower on the Nasdaq too. So we'll see where it settles. But yeah, volume looks like it's lower on the Nasdaq compared to yesterday. So we'll
Mhm.
see. But yeah, very challenging conditions right now. Our invested percentage is quite low. Difficult to make money. I mean, China stocks are up one day, they're down the next. And they did outperform today, but but still a
Mhm.
challenging environment.
It is, and I think one could imagine so many different scenarios to play out over the next week. It really all depends on the reaction to the news that we get. Are investors going to cheer the economic data? Are other countries going to ratchet up the retaliations of a trade war, or will we get
Hmm.
some negotiations? So I really think that the next week is critical here. So I'm going to be ready to lean even more defensive if I need to, but also switch into offense mode if we do start seeing some power, some sustained power
Yeah.
come into the market, not just one big up day.
Well, I mean, to me, this is all about the market sort of assessing what the economy is going to look like in coming
Right.
quarters. Obviously, the Atlanta Fed now, which is sort of an estimate to what first quarter gross domestic product. Last estimate was minus 1.8. So we'll see if that holds. But the concern about these tariffs is that it could keep inflation around for a while longer. It's already been stubbornly high, and we really haven't seen the full effect of these tariffs yet. But will
Right.
will it cause inflation to stay elevated? Could it possibly cause stagflation, where you have slowing growth and elevated inflation, or will it just cause a slowdown that puts the economy into a recession? So these are very real concerns. Um, and this is what the market is trying to figure out right now. So we'll see. Like we said yesterday, you don't want to get too bullish or bearish. We're kind of in
Right.
a chop and slop, back and forth environment. What we know right now, the facts are that this is still a market that looks like it's under some distribution, and we just need to see more clarity and a lot more leadership come into better focus too.
Yeah. Ken, I would love your thoughts on the Dow here because this is the lone index above its 200-day line. Is it meaningful to you or just something to note?
Well, today, for example, a lot of consumer staples stocks outperformed. I think I mentioned I had the
Mhm.
ETF. Was it X? Yeah,
Yeah.
XLP. You got
Mhm.
it right there. So, big day yesterday. Obviously, Procter and Gamble is a highly weighted stock in here. Still, kind of a laggard stock below its moving average. But even yesterday, just back to the Dow. The Dow fell yesterday with the other major stock indexes, but I mentioned that there were 8 stocks that were up at least 1%. There were some up 1.5, some up 2%. So a lot of the selling in the Dow was in your large cap tech names. So not surprised to see the Dow performing a little better here, because you do have the big
Yeah.
mega cap liquid, in some cases consumer staple type companies that are outperforming here. So the Dow looks a lot better, I agree, than the other indexes at this point.
Okay. And then you briefly mentioned outperformance in China. Let's just take a quick look at the K Web China Internet ETF. So, we've seen an uptrend all year long. Lately, we've seen a breakout, pullback, now trying
Hmm.
to gain a little steam here. But I guess for traders who do like little bit of earlier entries, perhaps today was the chance to get in here. What do you think?
Possibly, still below that, that's the 10-day or the 21-day line on your
The
chart
green is
there.
the
The
21
green
and
is
the
the
pink
21.
is the 10.
Yeah, so still got touched that 10-day line, got pulled back a little bit. So, but this is just indicative of the chop that we've seen here.
Mhm.
Right when it looked like these China ETFs were ready to get going, and then yeah, just last week it sort of fell apart. So trying to get going again. Good outperformance today. I think
Mhm.
there's a feeling that China's economy could start to recover. It's been in the doldrums for so long. Chinese regulators have been, slow to unveil, stimulus that would help the consumer. They have unveiled stimulus measures, but there's a thinking maybe that China's economy is about to turn the corner. That's still in question, but you are seeing a lot of broad-based strength in China stocks. But
Mhm.
boy, that's a tough area to,
It is.
it's just so volatile, and you never the headlines are can be all over the place
Yeah.
from China. So it's a tough area to invest in. Seeing some recent outperformance, including today, and Scott St. Clair was on IBD Live, one of our colleagues earlier today. You have the big leader like Alibaba still trading very well up here. You can see that huge move over the 100 level, still holding there its 21-day line. So you're seeing a lot of strength. This is probably the institutional quality name in China. So this one's looking pretty good, and China stocks overall look good. It's just a tough area to invest in.
It is. Risk management especially key here. And I think this is actually a good transition to ticker BZ. So we'll skip
Hmm.
ahead here a little bit, just sticking with the theme. So Kanzhun up 1.7% on the day after a breakout in late February, early March. Quickly ran up 20% or so and is being stubborn about giving back those gains.
Yeah, and to me, this looks like another handle. I mean, you had a pretty clear handle, buy point handle pivot of 1724. Really good volume as this thing really took off. So that was your ideal entry at 1724. But you look at the stock's recent decline down to the 10-day moving average. Three out of those four declines, the stock closed up near its high. Paired losses on three of those four down days. Now, tried to rally today a little bit. Got pulled down late, but if we go to the weekly chart, I think BZ is still worth watching here because you can see the different perspective. I think after what could be five up weeks in a row, maybe just watch this name and see if it can drift lower. But still, this could be an actionable name in a time where a lot of Chinese stocks have moved, including Kanzhun. Could add a handle here and maybe give another entry.
Mhm. And
Online recruitment
right.
job website in China with pretty good
Mhm.
fundamentals here.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I really like the volume profile. So a lot of strong volume to the upside as it's made this advance. Okay, now let's take a look at Visa, and great minds think alike here, Ken, because this is on my watch list as well. I was on Sirius XM channel 132 this morning, their business briefing show, and this is one of the stocks that I featured because not only has it held up exceptionally well recently, especially in light of the huge sell off that we saw on Wednesday. But this is a stock that is not very volatile. The average true range over the last 21 days is just over 2% or so.
Jeez. Uh,
So in terms
uh,
of risk here, this is a steady Eddie type name where, if its average movement is up or down 2%, that makes me want to, makes me sleep a little bit better at night. holding something
Absolutely.
like this, right?
Yeah, average true range of 2%. I mean, that's about as low as I've seen. I mean, we tend to look at some stocks where they tend to be a little more volatile. 4, 5, 6, 7%
Mhm.
average true range. But Visa is interesting. I mean, Mastercard looks very similar. But if this is where the market's tricky because you have concerns about a slowdown. You have concerns about tariffs.
Right.
Keeping inflation high, and is
Mhm.
this going to, curb U.S.
Consumer
economic
spending.
growth?
Yeah,
But yeah, but yet you have Visa and Mastercard still showing a lot of strength.
right.
Visa on the weekly chart, this is a second test of the 10-week line. It was a pretty clear breakout, and then there's your first test, and there's your second test. There you go. Yeah. So, second test of a 10-week line can be actionable. Typically, when you're buying off the 10-week line, you want to be doing it in a confirmed uptrend. We're not in a confirmed uptrend right now, so we're still market direction is still very much in question, but I think that the Visa's price performance has been super impressive, and for people that are still optimistic about the economy and maybe a soft landing, or will we be able to avoid a recession? I think just watching Visa and Mastercard trade here,
Mhm.
at least some reasons to be optimistic here, because if we really were headed for a real weak spot here, I don't know that Visa would be acting as well as it is.
Yeah. That is so true. I really like the relative strength that we are seeing here, going back quite a few months now at this point for Visa, just a steady, liquid, institutional quality name here. And we'll get the exact average true range just to make sure that I'm saying the right thing here. I had it on my list earlier.
There
So,
it is.
yeah, 2.09%.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's low. That's
that is
low, and
low.
something not a bad idea to keep an eye
Yeah.
on low true ranges like that. But I think the technical setup here looks really solid. We just need a little more little healthier market
Yeah.
to work with here. Yeah.
Totally agree, but a good one for the watch list. Let's round things out with a look at Ollie's Bargain Outlet. A nice day of outperformance here, up 4.5%. Earnings are out of the way. Maybe an early entry within this double bottom base here, Ken, but it is also approaching that traditional pivot.
Yeah, I mean it's listen, the discount group that Ollie's is attracted. There is one other strong performing stock in this group, and that would be BJ's Wholesale Club. But with Ollie's, this was a really nice move today on the weekly chart. You've got a relative strength line near highs. The issue, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I mean,
Mhm.
the composite rating of 81 is kind of hurt by recent earnings and revenue
Yeah.
at Ollie's. And if we scroll down on the weekly chart and just kind of look, and you see growth is expected to start to pick back up again. So results in recent quarters, not all that great, but the results for the April ended quarter not going to be out for a little while because they just reported, but
Mhm.
they are expected to kick back into growth mode. They have been buying a lot of big lots locations as big lots goes through bankruptcy. So that should help Ollie's Bargain Outlet continue with their expansion. So for a retail stock, fundamentals not great in recent quarters, but it looks like growth is going to turn around, and this has been a pretty good performer for a while. And I agree. Maybe an early entry today, but we'll see if it can pop over that 115
Mhm.
42 entry. But a stock that is set up
Yeah.
pretty well here with a good relative strength line.
Yeah, and I would say this is a tricky stock. It forms a lot of bases as
Hmm.
it moves higher. A lot of touches of the 40-week line on the weekly, 200-day line on the daily chart here. So one to watch. Will it continue the same personality or can it break out with some gusto? Just like
Yeah,
with the other names, the market could have a lot to do with that.
it's a tricky stock. And I would assume the average true range here is on the high side as well because the stock can go
Mhm.
back and forth. So. Four
4.5%.
4.5, not crazy, but
Yeah.
certainly higher than Visas. So,
Yeah.
for a retail stock, and again, you hear a lot about these dollar stores really,
Mhm.
really struggling, but also in this group, BJ's Wholesale has been a great performer. So, you've got two stocks in the group acting very well. BJ's arguably a little better than Ollie's, but it was encouraging to see Ollie's.
Yes.
Really, it was a little mini breakout today, and we'll see if it can
Mhm.
fully break out in coming days. But it's going to need the broad market health to improve a little bit more.
Totally agree. All right, Ken. Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to getting your thoughts. You're writing the stock market today column on Fridays, right?
Normally, not tomorrow,
Normally,
but
not
normally, yeah,
tomorrow.
normally I do, but I'm not going to be doing it in the morning tomorrow.
Okay. Well, usually, you
Usually.
check that out from Ken. We always we appreciate your insights here and on IEBD Live. So we'll have to see how the week ends, but good stuff, Ken. And thanks everyone so much for tuning in. That is it from us for today, but we will be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live, starting 10 minutes before the opening bell, along with a special guest, Leif Sereda from Champion Team Trading. Always like his thoughts on the market and growth stocks that he's watching. So check us out 10 minutes before the opening bell, investors.com/IBD Live for all the details on that. We will see you there, everyone. And then Webby and I will see you right back here tomorrow after the close to wrap up the week.